Design is very, very much about everything that we do every day. It's built into our lives, except that we don't actually acknowledge or recognize or fully understand how that happens. So you can easily then say, if we're not involved in teaching people about design or teaching them how to design, you're going to lose a sense of its importance. The design process is not all oriented around outcomes. It's really oriented fundamentally around how people live their lives.
Design is everywhere, and it's everywhere because that's the only thing that makes us different from any other species, because we are constantly making objects that enable us to do things that we're not capable of doing physically just as a human being.
Being able to talk about design as like a structured framework or a method is what gives it such great importance out in the world. But it's fully an art practice, and it comes with all the creative struggle of that as well. It's an art practice that's applied to problems out in the world.
Uniqueness is a very, very difficult thing to define, but I think we can actually define it in relation to Emily Carr. So a lot of design schools are based on a professional model, just as we are. A lot of design schools are based on really honing the craft of graphics or interactive design or industrial design. So we're not that different in that regard. Where we're really different is that we emphasize research. And that fundamental difference is so profound that you see it in the designs that actually the students develop, in the work and the artifacts and the things that they do. The other thing that differentiates it is that we're very concerned about process. So it's not just about product, it's not just about outcome or artifact, it's about how the students get from A to B to C to D, how they learn the relationship between craft and expression, how they come to understand what it means to speak to an audience, to speak to a client, to speak to the community.
You can come to school to learn theory, but ultimately it's about developing your own practice, developing the way you think. That's what this environment provides, and you can't find it anywhere else.
We have worked really hard as a group to establish our values around sustainability, our values around commitment to technology and moving forward, our values to interdisciplinarity, our values to research, and to really produce work that is absolutely culturally contextualized. So it must be good design that fits within culture. We're not interested any longer in designing commodities or in designing things that are just pretty.
An art school always has to be ahead of the curve. It used to be the case 30 years ago that education could kind of isolate itself and say we're the little factory that produces the great students. Now it's about continuous interaction with everyone, with the community as well, to discover what community needs, to work openly and honestly and collaboratively. You can't get away with the old ivory tower approach, and shouldn't. That period is done, thankfully.
Design is important because we're all hardwired for design, whether we know it or not. Proportion and space can create order. It creates a sense of calm or excitement.
There are all these little attributes that I think feel so natural that a lot of people just sense that it's a good space, that it kind of works. The best designed places you just don't even notice because they feel that natural.
Anything that facilitates you going about your day, it's been designed. If you walk up to a door and you don't have to read push or pull before actually push or pulling the door, then design has succeeded. The door has told you how to use it.
People want to have a less complicated life, so simplicity is the natural antidote to our very active and noisy lives.
One of the big things that Vancouver's known for is how is that manifested in urban design and planning. How do we plan a city in a way that makes this community kind of foster a sense of community and make it a meaningful place? Robson Square, the stairs, which everybody goes there. And I think that it's a number of factors. You could people watch, you're kind of on display, but you're on the side. That is arguably the job of the designer, to be able to say, you know what, these are the qualities that we believe contribute to this environment.
The designer can actually say, well, by the way, if you put a sidewalk a little bit wider, you're going to create more people space. More people space means a little less car space, but more living space. And by the way, that has a good impact on the environment because people may tend then to walk. And also, maybe we'll put a cafe there and they might come out onto the street.
What do we value in this day and age, and how do we go about doing that? And then how do we manifest it physically in an urban environment?
It isn't a matter just of engineering a space. It's a matter of how people live in that space and how they interact in that space. I think in that respect, design has so much to offer.
The way that we actually design space at Lululemon is for clarity, honoring people's time, and energy. It's a place to go, a place to hang out with people that have similar beliefs and ideas and inspire you and educate you. So it's like you're hanging out with your people.
Personally, I want there to be a sense of discovery. I want you to want to peek around every corner and see what's happening and linger over details. From a kind of furniture and architecture background, the details really show the quality and the kind of thoughtfulness and intent that goes into the construction of any space.
A great former professor of mine told me something back when I was in school that deals with design, and he said, you know what, architects and designers, what they bring to the table is the gift of attention. That they pay attention to things that other people would just not even bother. But in doing that, they recognize patterns.
There's a lot of what I learned at Emily Carr that I apply on a daily basis. For me, the biggest part of it was kind of a rigorous application of the design process. So really understanding that the design process is around solving a problem. Design is around making the world a better place, primarily for people. So when you understand exactly what the issue you're trying to solve is, you're much more likely to come up with an elegant solution.
I don't think that you can treat somebody in an environment that hasn't recognized that it's for people. And I think that it has an enormous effect on people's sense of who they are and how they could get better and how to prevent themselves from getting worse.
If you walk into a hospital and you can quickly navigate your way to the place you need to be, and you haven't really got conscious of how to get there, then design is doing its job. Health design is looking at how designers and the design process can look at a complicated social problem and come at it with fresh eyes and research, and work with end users or professionals to suggest outcomes that are highly creative and different than they might have generated themselves, and that's what we can bring to the process. When we design, we start with the person who's using the process or product that we're designing, and how can we shape that experience. Most important is, what do you want to change? What behavior do you want to change or influence or adapt? And how can design affect that? And we help educate to understand that the same skills they use for traditional communication design projects can be applied to things that are much more complicated but ultimately socially relevant. Vancouver Coastal Health started coming to us a couple of years ago with a project around hand washing. How might Emily Carr students suggest changing the way that Vancouver Coastal Health portray hand washing to boost compliance rates?
People do know they're supposed to wash their hands, but they either forget because they're preoccupied because they're going to visit a relative that's very sick, or just coming off a 12-hour shift. For me, health design is not so much specifically about health, but it's just about helping people and about helping people understand the importance of certain things and how that will help them lead healthy lives.
How do you get people to embed it into the things that they do every day? And this was an opportunity for us to get some different perspectives and see whether or not we could use some of those techniques to actually improve our hand hygiene compliance.
Designed objects, they need to really communicate, because you do want it to be interpreted a certain way and communicate a very specific message.
They really did like the idea of physical barriers in the hospital, so we wanted to work with the idea of creating implied physical barriers that would remind people that once they've crossed this line, they need to clean their hands.
The interaction between humans and either technology or space or sounds or smells or different placement in the environment, how does that actually help people to use the product in the way that we want them to use it?
Engineers and health researchers are terrific at designing objects that function, that work. Not always at objects that feel easy to use and comfortable to use.
Glasses, for example, it is a medical product, but through design, it has evolved into something more like a jewelry or an accessory. So that's where design gets to come in and change that perspective. I have chosen to focus on the area of medical design on the topic of peritoneal dialysis. The design was to encourage hygienic behavior for those people who are visually impaired. I have changed the design of this transfer set into something for seniors to easily open. As I go through the design process and studying at Emily Carr, I realized there's actually a lot of psychology behind products. If the technology is available and it's possible, why not have the combination between art into engineered products?
A good health design device, a prosthetic or a wheelchair, that's a story. It's a story about the building of it, it's a story about the use of it, it's a story about the person's experience who may actually make use of it. So for me, narrativity is natural, implicit, and more often explicit than people realize. Storytelling is important in everything. So it's a question then of how designers can take the best stories and learn what the best stories are, which means learning more about language, learning more about expression, learning more about how to say and understand the world around you, how to speak about what you love and what you hate. I don't see how you can build anything without a story around it.
A lot of design has stories, but a lot of it does have to be verbalized by somebody to understand what the story is. I do think the intent and the spirit with which things come through, you can read.
Amber is our undergraduate thesis project, so it's a collaboration between Henry and myself. There was a 205-year-old Douglas fir that got cut down from Stanley Park. The park supervisors said, if you can move it and cut it, it's yours. Because we were working with this tree that had so much history and was so much a part of the city itself, it had a potential above and beyond just sort of a brand. Henry had the technical and formal skills to create objects that physically embody that story and that respect of this material. The time scale and the processes that it took to get from seedling to processed furniture is a really amazing story. And I think that really drove both Henry's design and my piece as well, which was a book and digital piece.
The book really informed, again, to the intention and all that. And I think it's very, very romantic and very beautiful. But to impose a story also sometimes adds historical value. Why can't I just see it and make my own story? Like, I think another thing about design, if it is mute, then it should allow people to attach to it, because otherwise it's just doesn't have the same value.
There are too many throwaway furniture in the back alleys, and we kind of lost this connection with our things, the things that we own. I believe the longevity of furniture comes from knowing the history and the story. That was the starting point for us to use storytelling to create this longevity. Knowledge ultimately leads to appreciation.
Have something good, have something beautiful, use it for years, sell it to someone else who's going to use it for years, or pass it on to your kids. It's totally against throwawayism, which is to me the most environmental way to go. When working with Henry on his piece, he started with a certain intent, and then the first thing he showed me was so turning his back on his intent and didn't allow himself to speak freely through it. So I do think in any kind of design you are making your own vocabulary I mean, you can look at an Ingo Mauer light and you know it's Ingo. Ingo has his own vocabulary, so does Ross Lovegrove. Chitario is more of a chameleon in many ways. Piero Lissoni is a one-note symphony. Starting from here, you can take a choice and it can go off there, or you can make a choice and it can go off there, and you can start almost at the same place and you can end up so different. And the fact that every choice he was able to do them in a way that consistently says it's a piece by Henry in the end.
That's pretty much the ultimate goal, is to give that feeling and to put it out in the world.
Digital technology is really, it is another kind of language, and everybody is speaking it. It's very real, it is here. We have whole generations of students coming in through the doors that are highly literate.
Artists and designers have to be ahead of the curve. They have to understand what's coming. They have to be the canaries in the mine, and they have to be inventive, and they have to be innovative. And in order to be inventive and innovative, you have to be looking at what's coming. You have to be looking at what's around and what's new, and you have to integrate it.
To ignore the use of social media in its prolific use is really to be really irresponsible. I mean, I think we have to take note at all of these changing environments and where there's opportunity to actually lend expertise as a designer.
The STEM Centre does apply research with companies in BC and throughout Canada who want to make use of the skills and expertise of Emily Carr faculty and students in order to help them tackle tangible innovation challenges in their own businesses.
We come from the world of market research where there's a lot of data and people are trying to interpret that data. I could show you 10 PowerPoints that would make you want to cry in the next 5 minutes. And our industry is fantastic at capturing the data, at interpreting the data, not so good at telling those stories visually. So how do you appeal to the masses? How do you make this information digestible? How do you use visual design? And at the same time, not make the design overbearing. It's the content. The takeaway shouldn't be, that was the prettiest thing I've ever seen. The takeaway should be, I digested the information.
About a year ago, we started talking about, well, how could we at Emily Carr help them answer that question? We married this set of social media questions that I helped them develop and deploy to their surveys with the talents of 50 of our students working in 3 classes.
The challenge we gave the students was take a bunch of attitude and opinion data, now bring this to life, now help us tell a story.
I think when you're faced with numbers, your first thought is that you're terrified and you have no idea what the story is, but when you start to think about metaphors, then you can come up with a story more easily.
You could talk to Cheryl and you didn't have to say to Cheryl, it needs to be more blue. Or, if this bubble could look more like a square, we'd be there. You could just talk to her about the business problem and she could understand that business problem and figure out how, through her own creativity, to bring that to life. And really good design does a great job of telling that story.
What she was able to do that I thought was really impressive was to figure out a way of layering 3 different dimensions of data all in a single visual that was super easy to absorb. Like, it wasn't hard to figure out, oh, am I looking at gender here? It was just totally, you could look at it and instantly see the picture.
There's a lot of different ways to tell the story, and there's no real rules. We're just entering into this exciting world where we've got infographics and people are getting better and better at telling stories using data, but there's no set rules. There's no set path you have to go down. So Cheryl's ability to bring these to life, I don't think you could have gotten that without a designer.
To be able to immediately see how what they're learning in the classroom can be applied to a job, to an immediate challenge, enhances their learning so much and allows them to develop so much while they're still in school that, really our biggest challenge is keeping some of these partners from hiring them until they finish their degree.
Designers don't necessarily have to let technology become the central focus point of what they're doing. They use technology as one of the facets of the parameters in which they're working. So I think pairing up with a technological company or these technology partners is a really great opportunity for both sides, because designers can keep asking why. They can keep questioning what may certainly be the status quo in computer science, or the status quo in the way that other companies are working, and hopefully that the companies can actually get a fresh perspective.
You know, people think about social media as this kind of, oh, it's just a hyped trend of the moment. And I mean, I think there's some truth in that, insofar as at a certain point we're going to stop talking about social media because it's just going to be the way we all live and work. But it's not because social media is going to go away. It's going to be because it becomes so completely ubiquitous that we stop noticing it as a thing anymore. The students who are working on these projects now are the same people who are going to be designing the Facebooks of the future. They're going to be creating that next generation of applications, of websites, and things we can't even conceive of how to name yet, but the things that are going to determine how we live online.
What makes good design is the ultimate, it is the most important question.
Really good design, I think, makes your life better.
Things that are practical work for your life. And that's the beauty of really great design. So it's function, it's beauty, and it's timeless.
An adequate design is one that does the job. A good design is one that does its job well. Excellent design is elegantly suited to its purpose.
Good design should be intuitive. It should be generally the simplest solution.
For me, it really comes back to, does it work? And if it works, you know, then that's good design.
It should be invisible. It should be. Design to me is about making things work better. I mean, all you have to do is pick up an iPhone, and you've got one of the best examples of design going today. And the least computer literate or whatever person can just navigate through it because it's intuitive. So the design of it actually is invisible. When you pick up a really good knife and fork, you're not going, oh, wow, these are great. You're eating food. When you're sitting in a chair, you're not going, oh, I love the sit of this chair. You're engaging in a conversation with your friends across a dinner table at a great restaurant, and you're really not thinking about the chair. The food is exquisite, the service is exquisite, and the experience is perfection on such a subtle level. That's good design to me.
In the design world, one part of it is invisibility, in the sense that sitting in a good chair, you shouldn't have to say, I'm sitting in a good chair, I'm sitting in a good chair, I'm sitting in a good chair. You should just feel it and experience it. There's that side of it, but the negative of that is a lack of understanding of the fact that I'm sitting in something that somebody's worked on.
One point as a designer, your responsibility is to step back and let your design connect with whomever it's meant to connect with. And so the designer should be invisible at some point in that process. You know, what's invisible may not always be fully valued, but I think that, again, that is the long, sad lament of designers who do good design, is whether or not it's noticed in every day, and whether or not they'll still have to explain to their parents what they do for a living, because that's a very common type of thing to do.
If everything around us is designed, if the world is essentially an artifact, and if that's the sort of fullest expression of human creativity, if all of that is circulating within us, if we live with it every day, we have to ask the question why we are so dismissive of creativity in general.
I think once people start to recognize or experience what really good design means, it really changes your outlook in life.
So good design for me is the product of a deep, empathetic relationship to what you're creating, a profound understanding of the process of prototyping, and a social relationship to the community of which you're a part, so that you understand that you're not just designing something trivial for no use, but you're designing it for people that help the environment, not hinder it. Good design should be about great, beautiful looking things that actually work and that live for a long, long, long time, because we need to get out of the reliance on an economy that is continuously replacing objects with other objects. And so a really good design will think about the future and build that future into its present.